Hi everybody, it's Marcy, and I'm working on my September Stashbuster Junk Journal Challenge by DearJulieJulie. And before I get started, I want to apologize. I had a video, I'm recording this on Thursday, and this morning's video went up as a premiere at 7 a.m. Central Time. I apologize. That was an error. If anybody was there looking for me to be in chat, I truly apologize. I did not realize it until just a few minutes ago that it had gone up as a premiere. So I will try not to make that mistake again. Okay, today I'm working on my strips of paper. And for me, in real time, I just finished my scraps of paper and already knew what I wanted to do for my strips of paper. And so just kept going with a little break in between. Okay, so I've got this strip of paper. It's about 1.25 inches wide, and I've got this very delicate lace trim that is about 1 inch wide, and I'm going to glue it. I just want the edge of the lace to be off the paper. Now, if I were more adept using my sewing machine, I could probably just put the two together and sew them together without having to glue them. But I don't trust myself to be able to do that. So I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. And I'm going to go ahead and glue down a second one. And these will be my embellishments using the strips of paper. And I don't know if I will, once I sew them, I don't know how long they'll be. I don't know if I will just leave them intact to put them on two full pages, or if I will cut them down into multiple pieces to use as tabs. But okay, it doesn't have to be glued perfectly because I'm just using the glue to hold it in place. So then once this is dry and I take it over to my sewing machine, I'll be ruffling it in my sewing machine. If you don't sew or don't want to sew, you could do the same thing just by folding it like this and putting little dots of glue. Need to refill my art glitter glue. There. Just like so, and it doesn't have to be art glitter glue. And the idea with these paper ruffles is they don't have to be perfect. In fact, part of their charm is their imperfection. So I'll go ahead and finish this one as well, and Then I'll have another little strip embellishment. So I was thinking this, for right now, is going pretty quickly. Of course, I may, like always, hit a stumbling block as to what to do, but I also keep thinking, ooh, well, I could bust some of this stash. And so depending on how quickly this goes, making all the elements for this journal, I may end up doing, normally I don't have videos up on Sunday and Monday. I'm getting close to the end and can't keep track of what I need to be doing. Normally don't have videos up on Sunday and Monday, but if I can get far enough ahead, okay, I may put something up on a Monday or something, just sort of as a surprise video. Okay, so once you glue that side, then you can just come back around to the other side and put little dots on the opposite side just to help keep the ruffle, the back from ruffling up. And, okay, let's put the pen back in the glue. Sorry, I didn't mean to get distracted by doing this non-sewing one, but I know not everybody is able to sew or likes to sew in their journals, so this is another way to accomplish the same thing. And then I'm just distressing the edges of each ruffle a little bit to make them stand out a little more. And then you've got a cute little page embellishment. Put it on the side of a page and let it hang over a bit. And there you go. Okay, so now that being done and my other two drying, I want to move on to a tag. And here I just took a page out of my glue book and folded it in half. Let's throw a little glue down on it to stick it down. I will, of course, be sewing around it, so don't need it to stick permanently, or it doesn't have to be perfectly glued. Okay. And I'm going to use that for a tag base. And that gives me about a 2.5 inch tag. And if I take my trimmer and get rid of those rough edges. Then I'm left with about 2 5/8. Okay. Now, I've got these cutoffs from where I had made some base pages, and I should have gotten more of this ready before I turned the camera on. But I'm going to tear some strips and ink around the edges. I think I'll make about 1-inch strips. Okay, so I've decided on 3 strips for this tag. I've got these 2 and a strip of Dear Julie Julie's Love Songs paper. And wrong one. I'm going to glue this one down first, and I'm just going to use my stick glue for this, because as always I will be sewing around the edges. And I don't need to go all the way to the top because the paper is longer than. And I'm going to put this roughly in the center. May not be exact center. May not be perfectly straight, but doesn't matter. Oh. Then I'm going to do this one. My green. I'm going to put it over here. I'd already decided which papers to put which direction so that I could ink the inside edges. The outside edges I'm not worried about. I can distress them when I'm done. But I just didn't want to have you have to watch me do a bunch of distressing. Okay, there is strips of paper, and for a tag. And I know that looks very simple and plain. Remember, I will be going back and embellishing these later. Okay, so let's cut off the excess. This is going to be a pretty tall tag. It will be right at about 8 inches. And where did my tag maker go? I think because this is so narrow, I'm not going to use my deep cut edge. And let's go ahead punch that. Put my hole reinforcer on it. These hole reinforcers probably are not actually necessary, but I like the way they look. And I just get a sheet of them and I just go ahead and use my vintage photo over the whole sheet. That way I've got them ready to go. Okay. And I want to, before I put this away, I want to go ahead and round these bottom corners. Okay, so I will distress that, but I'll do that later. No need for you to watch me do that. Okay, now real quick, my Fabri-Tac is dry on my ruffles, so I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and sew up my ruffles real quick, and then I'll be back and we'll do the page. Okay, I inked around my tag. I haven't sewed around it yet. Why, I don't know. And then I went ahead and sewed my ruffles, and they started out as 12-inch strips and are now about 6.5 inches. This one's actually a little shorter. This one's about 6 1/4. Why, I don't know, but doesn't matter. So I think those will, probably I will use those on as full embellishments on a couple of pages, and do one at the top of a page and then go to the other side and do another one from the bottom of the page. So I think that'll work really well. Okay. Now, so that's my embellishment idea. Now for my page idea. I've got this piece of paper. It's a heavier weight paper. This came from a scrapbook, like a wedding type scrapbook that I had picked up at Goodwill some time ago. And the paper is 13 1/4 by about 9 1/4. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off just above where those two holes are. And then I'm actually going to use my cutting board as a scoreboard for a moment. The tallest my pages can be is 8 13/16. The only thing I don't like about using the bind it all, and I think it would be the same for a We Are Memory Keeper cinch machine, is I need to have my pages. The hardest part is remembering I need to have it on 5/16 or 13/16 to make it easier to punch. Okay. And then I'm going to just gently score there. And fold that up to create a pocket. And then I think I said it's, yeah, 9 1/4, and half of that would be 4 1/2, so 4 5/8. And I'm going to cut that down. And then I will have 2 narrower pages for my journal. Okay. So I am now going to just pick a variety of strips and glue them on, just like I did for the tag. The only difference is I'll be using a different variety because some of these are very directional. So I'm not going to have you sit there and watch me do that. I'm going to do it just like I did for the tag. Okay, I got my paper strips glued onto my pockets. I think they look pretty cool. I distressed the edges of them again, which gives them a very textural look. And of course, they're overlapped a bit. And I really like the way that looks. Now, the one thing I am going to do, because I used my glue stick, paper to paper, which is fine, but because this top pocket edge, and you'll see I haven't actually put any paper right at the edge, I want to add a piece to the edge, but I'm actually going to use liquid glue and I'm going to fold it around the edge. And that's just because I've never had a bit of problem with my stick glue. But this top edge is going, with it being a pocket and having stuff going in and out of it, it's going to get some use. And I won't be stitching the top of the pocket. So I'm just going to take that paper and wrap it around that edge using my liquid glue, just to give that a little extra security. I'm going to do the same with this. And I love using my stick glue. I go through it like crazy. But I think at least part of the reason I don't have a problem with it is I've heard other people talk about not liking liquid glue. But I do take some precautions. And this is just one of them for a little added security. And I've got 2 pockets. So 2 page ideas along with my embellishments and my tag made out of strips of paper. So there you go, everyone. And until I see you again, please be safe, stay healthy, and happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.